Nice to meet you too. There.
Holy moly.
What's wrong?
Yeah, that's so much better.
What's going on out there in YouTube land? Today we are with the Minimalists. We're with Joshua and Ryan, authors, podcasters, minimizers. They've got a new Netflix movie coming out that's coming out in January, right?
Yeah. New Year's Day. It's called Less Is Now.
Yeah. Less Is Now. So make sure you guys check that out. We're coming to you from a really cool facility called Monarch Athletic Club, Hollywood. Big thanks to Dr. Green over here. He is the medical director. Really, really cool facility. I was super impressed upstairs. They've got a great workup. They evaluate you. They get you to physical therapists. You do this whole program. So we're gonna do a few different things today. Both these guys have broken their backs before, spinal. They've had some experience with, chiropractic and osteopathic manipulation. So we're gonna do some body work on them. They're gonna tell us a little bit about how we should have less shoelaces and belts and minimize down like that. And just generally have a good time.
Right, let's do it.
Sounds good, let's do it.
Actually, it might be good at if I could get knocked out first before all the soft tissue stuff.
My shoulder, this shoulder in particular,
Yep.
I think it's from two things. One is about 4 months ago, I was lifting and it just felt a pain in it. Now, I think it's mainly because I type all day. And so I'm hunched at a computer writing books and go for the mouse. And so it hurts to do regular push-up. Now my shoulder back here is kind of wonky as well. Also, the SI joint is kind of tight.
You pain there?
A little bit. Yeah.
Pushing you? A little weaker too?
Yeah, a little bit.
Push inward. Yep. Let's go right there. Thumb up and hold. Don't let me push down. Anything there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, right in there.
Okay. And we're gonna go right there and hold.
Oh yeah.
Same. Let's just compare that. You right-handed?
Yeah. No.
So when you were feeling that, was that more right there or was it more there?
It was right here, and then also right here a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You feel that's sticking forward more than that side?
Yeah. Okay.
And hold.
Ooh.
Okay, do this side.
That's fine.
And when you're doing that, are you feeling like this is working harder than this?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, the bad news is,
It's cancer.
life is terminal.
The good news is you'll be dead tomorrow.
Oh, that is good news. Oh, okay.
Wait, what's the bad news?
This is the bad news.
Oh, this is the bad news. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
So how'd you guys meet?
We met in the 5th grade. I moved to Lebanon, Ohio, and I moved halfway through the school year. So I walked in the classroom and I saw a kid who was fatter than me, which typically didn't happen in elementary school for me.
Not pH fat.
Right, not pH fat. No, I'm talking about
Double cheeseburger fat.
yeah. So
Look at you now.
I was like, oh man, we're gonna get along because we're two fat kids, so we bonded.
No. We were the two fattest kids in school. We're not two fat kids.
Yeah, the two fattest kids for sure. So yeah, we bonded over cheese fries and cheeseburgers and other cheese-related products, and we hit it off pretty well. I mean, we had similar personalities, but it was funny because I do remember thinking oh, there's someone fatter than me. Sweet. I feel comfortable to go and talk to him. Yeah. Here we are. How many years later?
Oh, 25?
Feels like 10.
Beautiful.
What's going on with my shoulder?
He's fixing you.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I'll tell you about it. If you feel right there, that scapulohumeral joint is tilted forward, so you should be there. So I think your muscles are overactive, and you might even have a slight movement of that humerus. So we're gonna work on that in a second.
Okay.
Bicep tendon a little irritated, and then you're not engaging the rotator cuff the way you need to because of that.
Doesn't look very humorous.
Got him.
Zing. My father would be so proud.
Or he might have a bone to pick with you about that.
Hey!
Somebody's gonna have to shoulder the jokes here. Shoulder the load for me.
I bet you could go all night on those, man.
Yeah, my thumb will be over here, but I don't know who's next.
Do you have kids?
Are you trying to give me some?
No, it just sounds like if you don't, maybe she should get a pregnancy test because that's what a lot of dad jokes. I'm so glad I'm not in that much pain. Well, I mean, what I'm saying, he actually has a legit, tell him about why we moved to Montana.
We were on a book tour. We were driving back to Dayton, Ohio from
Vancouver, BC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it really first in flight?
Yeah,
it is. It absolutely
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Wright brothers.
North Carolina, I think, tries to
Well, I think
Well, that's where they.
that's where they had the test flight.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like it was invented in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah.
It is windy in Dayton, Ohio.
What is that? Why? So right here, I always get like.
That's your lat.
I always get it.
Is it broken?
I always get it tattooed for some reason.
It's tight. So think about the balance here. So agonist, antagonist of raising your arm up and down. Really, it's just your deltoid and your super that raise up, and the lat is what pulls it down. So this muscle has a much more mechanical advantage than here. And then if you're tucking your elbows in all day, this is going to get shorter. So when you go to raise it, this is tighter than this is strong, and that's going to cause some friction on the shoulder. When you loosen up the lat, you stretch the lat, then your deltoid has better activation.
And it was it was July.
Raise the roof.
It was the most
Right down. Yeah, it's beautiful up there in the summer.
Oh,
yeah. And we looked over on the side of the highway. First time in my life I've ever done a triple take. I look over and there are 4 college co-eds skinny dipping on a waterfall and a hot spring off the side of the highway.
It was crazy.
It looked like an Abercrombie and Fitch ad, right?
We already were getting like good vibes from Montana because it's beautiful and the people were cool. I always describe like Missoula, Montana specifically. When you like anywhere else, I feel like in the country, you go up to someone and you're like, "Hey, how's it going?" And they're kind of looking at you like,
College town too?
yeah. But they're kind of looking at you like, "All right, dude, what's up? What do you need? What's your angle?" Or in Missoula, you go up to someone, you're like, "Hey, how's it going? What's up?" And they look at you, they're like, "You're cool until you prove me otherwise." Like it's just a completely different vibe, I guess, in Missoula. So we were already like kind of impressed with Missoula. And then we come across this crazy, picturesque scene, Abercrombie and Fitch model. And then I'm like, dude, we might want to consider coming out here because we were working on our next book. I was like, I want to come out here and do like
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah, and Josh was like, I want to Bundy. And I'm like, no, dude.
Prefer Al Bundy, but you know.
But as we're saying this, I shit you not, an eagle came swooping down.
This can't be real.
No,
it was unbelievable.
It actually happened.
Yeah, we saw 2 of them actually.
Oh my god.
Tell them, man, they made big progress in hair plugs.
Yeah.
Ryan, you said you were going to protect me.
Forever. He lied. Took you 25 years to figure that out.
How much to make him hurt extra?
Yeah,
How much to give him extra pain?
that was the email that I got. Track.
Oh.
How much do I need to pay to just rip his arm off?
It's a very disarming maneuver.
Hey!
I'd say give me a hand, but I already have one here. Boo!
So many zingers.
My daughter's 7 and she hates my jokes.
Oh no.
I know, it's the best. Oh!
You're doing great, man.
Yeah, that's
Doing
true.
great. Your face doesn't look ridiculous right now at all.
No. I mean, it usually looks ridiculous, but
That frontal vein is impressive, man.
thank you. Yeah.
Like every phlebotomist would be like, let me get some of that. Ooh.
I heard it. Ooh.
That feels sticky there.
Yeah, it is.
Sticky
Clear
neck.
that edge.
Oh.
That's I can't. That's why I can't.
There we go. Alright, this is gonna be a bottom edge. Drop your right shoulder down.
Dude, why did I pay the 10 extra bucks? I thought you were gonna take it all the way.
All the way around. Lean on him a little bit. There you go.
Woo.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Woo.
Because you can feel it go all the way down your
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's gonna hit me with a hammer.
That's right.
Well,
Perfect.
There we go.
Help.
Feels like a good tricep pull down.
Yes. Whoa.
That's right.
Good. Go back to here. And push out. How's that?
Holy moly.
Feel strong?
Yeah, that's so much better.
That's awesome.
So let's take this hand and go in and out like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually. Nothing there really?
No.
Okay.
It's crazy to me how like when I was a kid, chiropractors had this like woo-woo-y type reputation.
Some still do.
Yeah, but it's so much more prevalent today, like that people understand how important it is. But even like seeing his pain go like that's pretty wild.
That's so impressive.
So
Yeah.
do this motion again, but I'm gonna get you there. That's tight. That's the soul. Brother's gonna work it out. Tell us how that feels.
It's wrinkle free.
Wrinkle free.
Wrinkle free.
Wow. There we go.
Yeah, it's loosening up. Holy moly. Holy moly.
Great. Now you can bench press 1,000,000 pounds.
At least.
At least.
Good.
Oh my god.
Feel similar?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go over there, thumb up, and hold.
Yeah, still a tiny bit right
Little
here.
bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it's so much better. Yeah, so much better.
Nothing on that one?
Yeah,
Or
just a
still
little bit
tiny
right
too?
here. Yeah.
Okay. And let's go palm up.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing on that one? And keep reaching back.
I always said I wanted to get chiseled.
Or hammered. Either way.
Dad jokes are flowing tonight.
Keep going back. Keep
What,
going.
with the
Keep
arm?
reaching. Yep. Keep going. Keep going.
Wouldn't that be
Little
awesome?
further.
That's actually what it took to get chiseled.
A little further. A little further. Good.
Wow.
Push out.
That's so much better.
And hold.
That's way better.
So bring the elbow.
Oh. Oh.
So your long head of the tricep is the only arm muscle that actually attaches to your shoulder blade. On the backside.
What do I do for this long term? Like for everyday maintenance?
So if you have like a dip bar or a Smith machine or something like that, something that's hard and cylindrical, you would just lean your body weight over it and just oscillate back and forth on it. It's like lat is tight, subscap is tight, long head tricep is tight. So you're gonna have to keep self-massaging those. You can use a massage gun too.
Okay.
And they gave me and my wife like, it was like $100 credit towards like their merchandise store.
Oh yeah?
And I was like, I'm not gonna buy any clothes here. But then I saw the gun and I was like,
Oh man.
I would totally use it on that. Yeah, it was awesome. Do you have a massage gun, Josh?
No. Does a regular gun work?
Do you own a regular gun?
It might be able to.
No
It might be
comment.
able to get modified.
I'm from New Mexico. It's a given for us.
Dude.
Hold.
It's one of my favorite pastimes in Montana.
That's better.
Rotates better there too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna hook right there. And then woo-saw your way through that one. There we go. So you said this is your second Netflix movie coming up.
Yeah.
It is.
What's the
yeah.
first one?
First one's called Minimalism.
Oh.
Came out in 2016.
It's still on there?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Better watch it.
Kind of happened by accident, honestly.
More painful that time?
No, just it. I feel like there's still something right
The
here.
backside.
Yeah.
So go there, hold.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Worse that time, yeah?
No, it's actually like it's your backside, but it's kind of like right here.
Okay, go thumb up again. And hold.
We don't, but Marley is our massage therapist. Literally, like,
Oh.
best I've ever worked with. So,
Awesome.
Oh.
like,
That's awesome. Oh.
All right. Raise this leg up as high as you can. Okay, other side now. Just feel the same?
Yeah.
So you're feeling kind of there?
Yep.
Both sides?
Yeah.
But not so much center.
Oh no, right. That's actually where it is most, right? Right.
Right there.
No. But like on both sides of it.
Okay, so it's more of that.
Oof. Yeah.
Okay. Do that left side again. How'd that one feel?
Yeah, it feels looser.
Okay, come back down. Get a little close to you here. Nice to meet you too.
Trust him, he's a doctor.
Sort of. Okay, left side again. Good. And now the right side again. So left felt better?
Yeah, it does.
Got a little friendly again there.
That's extra for that?
Just tip.
Yeah.
Do the right side again. Okay. And the left side again. And the right one more time. So right's better, just not as good as the left still.
I feel pretty close to me.
So close.
Basically looking for him to like lift the leg the same heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We want better range, but symmetrical.
Yeah.
There it was. All right, right side up again.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Left side.
That was better. Yeah.
Yeah, about even.
Yeah, for sure.
Just getting one spot out right
You're enjoying that too much.
there. Interesting.
What is going on?
We're minimalizing.
Minimalizing your pain and
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
there's a metaphor here about the short-term pain to minimize the long-term pain. I just can't think of it right now.
Well, some of it too is, neuroplastic changes. One of the theories behind like rolling, for example, is because you'll see this with people that use a foam roller and then all of a sudden they don't feel it anymore and they switch to PVC pipe and then it feels better.
Oh yeah.
Well, the physics of it isn't really much different. Your weight is still the same, the diameter is still roughly the same. It's a little harder.
Yeah.
But what we think is that sometimes by breaking up the pain central connection by creating an alternative pain, it can disrupt that.
Interesting.
Huh. It's one of the theories behind psilocybin and LSD and some of those other things as well too.
It just changes the neural pathways.
Yeah, that your brain isn't fixating on those things as much.
Yeah.
Because pain only exists here. And if it's chronic, then it's not really doing its job, right? Like pain is designed to tell you there's an acute problem to help you survive. Chronic pain has sort of gone off the rails. Either there's a severe underlying medical condition that needs to be treated, or it's gone off the rails. All right, raise that right leg again. A lot of people talk about like how we've become sedentary, and it's like hard to tell because people were dying of diarrhea and stuff before, so we weren't really chronically lower back pain in the 1700s. Everybody's like, oh, everybody has back pain now, or it could be that we're not all just dying of cholera and everything else.
Right.
Keep in mind, like modern medicine is really only 80 years old. If you think about,
Oh, that's wild.
the commercial availability of penicillin, we're talking early 40s. Even the discovery of insulin, I think, is 1913 or 14 or something like that.
Wow.
As far as the diabetic implications. There's jokes about the Civil War. They're like, help, we need medical care. We need some arsenic and saws to cut our limbs off and mercury. Because, what was medicine? Whiskey?
Right. We've come a long way.
The other fields, naprapathy and chiropractic. If you look at where those fields developed, so A.T. Still was what, Kirksville, and D.D. Palmer was Davenport. They're not far away. And it was happening during the same time as the the revival period of religion too in that part of the country. So, and a lot of stolen ideas that were claimed by other people that that sure sounds exactly like the other guy's idea, but you just switched blood vessel for nerve.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Or naprapathy, you switched bone impingement for ligament, or ligatite is what we called it, impingement.
Wasn't it at a certain point where like the priests were the doctors? Like, so you go far back, barbers. Like that's who you went for medical advice and to have them pray the demons away.
Well, and it depends on what continent too. You have Oriental medicine that's been around forever, and really Western medicine was way further ahead in England than it was here.
Now, why was my right side so much more, tight, I guess?
I have no idea. I just met you.
Because that's the leg you always hop on. Every time I see you, you're hopping on that leg.
Are you a leg hopper?
He's a leg hopper.
Interesting. You've heard of Benjamin Rush? Rush Medical School, or famous physician. A lot of people historically credit him with killing George Washington. He's using a lancet to bleed him out. One of the most prestigious medical journals in the world is called The Lancet still. And without a more solid theory and without a really firm understanding of germ theory, you're hot and red. I guess if you had less blood, you'd be less hot and red.
Oh, wow. And that's what it came down to was...
And we were literally a pre-scientific era. You can't hold them to a standard that didn't exist at the time.
Yeah. Or you think like if you let someone's blood out, like you're getting rid of some of the disease or something.
Well, you've heard of hijama? So it's like blood cupping. They do it in a lot of countries. So, peer-reviewed journals, it's shown to lower blood pressure temporarily. Because, you have less blood.
Right.
So theoretically, if your blood pressure was contributing to a headache, then your headache would be less if you had less blood in. So
So just take all the blood out.
Well, and some of the old school stuff, like we're bringing leeches back for wound therapy, and there are some applications for some of these things.
Yeah.
Even some of the acupressure and acupuncture points, there is evidence that they can affect different parts of the body.
I've had dry needling done before. That seemed to help in certain instances.
Yeah, we do a lot of dry needling too. So in the U.S., right, there was a schism and then a unification. So DOs in the U.S. are physicians that do the same residency programs as MDs. In Europe, most of the time DOs are in the place of where chiropractors are in our culture, where they're just bone setters and they don't have any prescriptive abilities or diagnostic abilities. And so then chiropractors there are even a level below that. As far as education, and I think they just get a diploma.
Oh wow!
So every culture is a little different.
Got a little bit different.
And some are only bachelor. For example, in England they do a MBBS, which is I can't remember what the acronym is for, but that's it's equivalent to our medical degree. It does transfer, like you can match and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But it's like 6 years of school instead of 8. Like you don't do an undergrad, and then you'll have like an M physio or things like that. Where our physios are educated at doctoral level now, so they do 7 or 8 years of total college, which is a lot more than Australia or other places.
Yeah.
And some of that's just degree inflation in the U.S. because everybody wants a doctorate, so they're willing to pay $100,000 more.
Yeah.
So they won't be called Mr.
Yeah.
I feel like I can float right now.
Same as it was yesterday. Try to fly. See what happens.
It's so much better. Seriously. Like, I had no idea what you were doing to my legs. I figured it'd all be on the SI, but like, oh my God. Yeah, it feels, like I feel like I could fly away right now.
So keep in mind, a lot of those muscles that tie into your ischium and up into your pelvis cross your knees, and if you're sitting all day, you're shortening those muscles. So when you stand up, they'll pull your pelvis down. So now you're having a fight between your lower back muscles and your leg muscles, and often the inflammation is going to show up at the SI or lumbosacral joints. So if you keep those, the gracilis in particular, but also the hamstrings looser from, so roll them first and then you can stretch them later.
Okay.
Everybody's a little different. Some people's ligaments are tighter than their muscles or vice versa. Like we have connective tissue variances with people. Everybody's a little bit different. I think feeling your tissue, you probably need to roll first and stretch second.
Okay.
Interesting.
So if you break the tissue up and get it warm and mobile first, then you'll get the muscle to stretch out instead of yanking on your sacroiliac joint and causing it to tighten up and spasm.
Yeah, I very rarely roll my legs. I always stretch, but like very rarely roll.
So I'd say you get like a 9-pound medicine ball and then sit on it and just kind of rock it back and forth. That would make a big difference in your pelvic pain, I think.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's built differently, right? Like we all have different shapes of our spines, shapes of our pelvis, previous history of injury. You guys have both broken your backs. Like my wife, for example, she's a back sleeper or a side sleeper, but if she lays on a pillow, she'll wake up with crippling cervicogenic headaches. So she has to roll up a towel and put it under there. And that's just the shape of her head. She has a bigger back shape of her head, and then the shape of her spine gives a different curve. So giving a uniform ideal for people that are so different, so many different heights and ages. But of course, that's what we want out there, right? Like everybody to stretch your pecs. Everybody's built differently, so you have to look at their lifestyle, like their activity level, and modify those things. And as the patient, this is what we talk about EBM, right? There's 3 parts. There's the literature, there's clinical expertise, and there's patient involvement. So without all 3 of those, you're not going to get the best possible outcomes. You can't do things that fly in the face of what the literature says, but also that's not the end all be all. Without any clinical expertise, you have no idea when and where to apply the literature. And then if the patient's not willing to be involved in the process or do what they're supposed to do, none of those things are going to give you the best possible outcomes.
Right.
The analogy I like to use, it's like driving on the freeway. So the rails are the literature, so you don't want to go outside of them. The clinician helps you to decide what lane you're supposed to get into, and then the patient has to figure out what exit to get off of.
Okay.
So if those things aren't working together, you're not going to get to your destination. And that requires time, that requires education. You can't have a 5-minute session with somebody and just have them coming in over and over again, which unfortunately is something a lot of people in my profession tend to do because it pays the bills. And of course, all businesses exist to make money. And so unfortunately, when you have student loans to pay and rent to pay and things like that, it's very easy to separate your consciousness away from your practice and to say, well, everybody else is doing it. And then you're not giving the quality of care that you would want your family members to get.
Yeah.
Even if that's not the price point. So you need to reevaluate that and say, do I really need, the most expensive office? Or do I have a clientele that are willing to pay X amount of money for the right care? That's something we sort of run into, is just that specificity, the individualism of the people.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of, not everybody's even that self-aware of their body to even know that. Like you guys have both figured out, okay, pillow here, stretch here, and you've been proactive in seeking out that information. How many people are even to that point? They have so many other fires in their life they're putting out, 3 or 4 kids, no help with it, sick family members, can't pay their bills, that they don't even have time to sit down and work on themselves, finding that center spot.
I think most of us don't recognize the problem until it's a raging forest fire, right? And at that point, we're still looking for the sort of prescription, the how-tos, which is a very strange thing. Because if you were to sit me down in that chair right there, and I was just seated there, and all of a sudden it caught on fire, I wouldn't look to you and say, hey, Beau, how do I put this fire out, right? Do you have like a 5-step method or a plan that will help me extinguish this fire? No, I'm going to get up and I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
But quite often I think that most of us actually don't want to fix the problems that we have.
Sure.
I think the core of what we talk about with the whole minimalism thing is about subtracting, getting down to the essence of that which is important. We talk about living a meaningful life with less, but it's not just less stuff. It's less commitments, less calendar entries. So we have the right kind of more focus, more time for your family, more time to contribute, etc. You might not have more money, but all the money in the world isn't going to buy you peace or tranquility.
It's interesting what you said, like people aren't trying to fix the problem, they're trying to fix the symptoms. Because like the problem requires a lifestyle change, and it's so much easier to fix a symptom than it is to like change your lifestyle.
Totally agree with that, but then what happens is the solution becomes the problem, right?
Right.
Because
yeah,
you become
yeah.
so focused on, well, I need to go to him and he's got to fix my shoulder, and now I'm just focused on that symptom. We forget that there was an actual problem, and we think that the symptom is now the problem.
Right.
And so it creates a new problem where we're solution chasing as opposed to becoming fixated on the actual underlying problem.
Yeah.
If we have one set of solutions like stretching or rehab or whatever, and you don't want to do it, then one of two things needs to happen. Either you have to accept that this is just what your body's going to be like, or you're just going to have to do the rehab, and those two things are a little bit tricky.
That's the cost of admission.
Yeah.
You either have to dedicate the time to it. It's not that was the solution. It was like, well, no, I needed to address the problem because I had created all these additional problems, right? And so it wasn't just I need to do this once and I'm going to fix it. No, I'm going to do it for probably the rest of my life as a maintenance thing, because I can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden all of my pain is gone.
Sure. And I don't think that's outrageous. I mean, we wash our face for the rest of our lives and brush our teeth for the rest of our lives.
Yeah,
if you're going to respect your body, you should probably exercise and also, do some rehab and stretch and things like that too. So,
Sure.
Like you said, if you don't want to fall apart, that's the cost of admission. If you would like to stave off replacing your joints as long as you possibly can, then you're going to have to be somewhat proactive and not carry extra body weight, and make sure that you're getting your cardiovascular exercise. Just like if you want to keep your teeth, you're going to have to brush and floss.
Right.
And unfortunately, especially with pain science, there's not a consequence to not doing our rehab. Like we don't have bad breath or something like that, and so we don't have a secondary social initiator to make us stretch or roll out or go to yoga or whatever. Now if we did, same thing with like taking a shower. If you don't shower for weeks at a time and don't wear deodorant, people are going to let you know, and there's a social consequence to that.
Right.
If you don't roll out on a foam roller or stretch or have somebody do body work on you for 2 weeks, nobody really knows or pays attention.
Right.
But your body will let you know later.
Yeah.